This week, for the first time, I watched The Wizard of Oz all the way through. There are many people who think this is a marvelous children's story, and a lot of others who think it's a profound theological treatise. The saga unfolds of a young girl who's trying to find her way home, and in so doing, she encounters three people who are in need and yearning for a better life. One is a scarecrow without a brain. One is a tin man who people kick and call a pile of junk and who is so rusted that he cannot move. And the third is a lion who is so lacking in courage he can't even growl. And this young girl finds a can of oil, and she decides she'll see what she can do for the Tin Man. And she puts some oil on his jaw, and he begins to talk. And she puts some oil on his joints, and he gets up and dances. And he becomes a living, exciting creature because of the can of oil. Now, the can of oil didn't change the circumstances. It still didn't give him a heart, but it enabled him to get up and find what he was looking for. Now, this morning, I would like to say that appreciation and gratitude are like that can of oil to rusty lives. I would like for you to see gratitude as the oil, which doesn't change our circumstances or our lives or give us what we want, but it enables us to function intellectually and spiritually and emotionally. That thanksgiving and gratitude give us what we need to get up off the ground, even though we've been frozen and rigid, and search for that which is good. St. Paul was writing to the church at Philippi. He was in prison. He most likely knew he was going to be killed. He knew he would never see those people at Philippi again. Think of the religious climate. The Sadducees and the Pharisees ran a fight with one another and wanted to kill each other. And both groups wanted to kill Paul. And the Roman Empire was there trying to wipe out the whole Christian movement. And here is Paul trying to give some sort of encouragement, give this young church at Philippi something that will allow them to continue when all else is gone. And he writes to them, and his final words are, be thankful. Look in your hearts. If there's anything good, if there's anything excellent, if there's anything lovely, look in your heart and dwell on these. If there's anything worthy, by all means, think on these. And in this passage, Paul introduces a rather strange concept. He indicates that our prayers will be more effective, more far-reaching, if we wrap them with the ribbon of gratitude and thanksgiving. And this morning, I want you to think about the ointment of gratitude and thanksgiving. It doesn't change our lives exactly physically, but it enables us to do what we need to do and go where we need to go. Many years ago in New York City, as Bob and Mark will remember, the sirens often drowned out a church service. And one Sunday morning at Brick Church on Upper Park Avenue, the sirens were so bad that the minister finally had to just stop his sermon. There was nothing else to do. And everybody was sitting there thinking, darn these sermons, this is awful, blah, 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 blah. And when it got through, Dr. Wolf got into the pulpit and he said, now, people, I want to tell you something. Instead of cursing the sirens and being angry that they've interrupted our service, let me give you a bit of advice. Whenever you hear a siren, it means somebody is in trouble. But thank God, help is on the way. And you know, I've never thought of sirens again like that. Gratitude is like that. When we stop not to curse that which is irritating us, like the sirens, but we stop to reflect upon what they mean, and we say, thank God, help is on the way. It still doesn't change the fact that somebody is in trouble or that the service has been interrupted, but it enables us to deal with the situation and reflect on that which is good and make something out of ourselves and to do the right thing. There was once an author that was very popular named Rudyard Kipling. And Kipling was being interviewed one day by a smart-aleck young reporter. And the young reporter held up a $100 bill and said, Mr. Kipling, it's rumored that you have gotten $100 for every word you've ever spoken. Give us one of those $100 words. And Rudyard Kipling, much to the reporter's surprise, reached out and snapped the $100 out of his hand, folded it, put it in his pocket, and said, thanks. Now, thanks is worth more than $100. The word thanks is worth $100 million because it enables our lives to be what we need to be and do what we need to do. You know, we're living in a very difficult time in my way of thinking. We need some kind of help. We need something to give us vision. And this morning, I'd like to think about Paul's words. He said, if you know anything that is worthy of praise, by all means, think about it. I would like to think about 4 things this morning that I think are worthy of praise. And the first is the police. Now, I guarantee you've never heard a sermon that praised the police and bragged on them, especially in a day and age when everybody is down on the police. But I'd like to tell you about an experience I had. I used to be in the antique business. And one night I was leaving an antique show about 10:30 in the Houston Convention Center. The fog was so bad in Houston, you could not see across the street. And I got lost. For about 20 minutes, I tried to find my way, and I wound up in a part of Houston that I did not even know existed. There were some pretty rough-looking people and situations going on around me. And finally, I saw a light in a kind of a convenience store, and I thought, well, I've got to have help. And I pulled into this convenience store, and even as I started to get out of my brand new Silverado truck, a big black policeman stalked up and said to me, what are you doing here? And I explained my situation, and he said, don't you know that anybody that's dressed like you're dressed and driving the vehicle that you're driving is in very dangerous circumstances right now in this place? He said, your very life is in danger. And he said to me, now you get in that truck and lock the door and you follow me. Well, let me tell you, I followed closely. And he drove me all the way back to the Allen Park Inn, took me to the front door before he left. That policeman probably saved my life. I wonder how many other times policemen have made our life feasible and possible, have made it worthwhile. You know, we were distraught to read in the Dallas Morning News that the police here are preparing with guns because they think there's going to be riots after the election, regardless of which party gets elected. This horrible election, and you really don't want my views on the election over the airways, believe me. But this election has made people angry and on edge and afraid. I've never seen society as divided and angry as it is today. And it would be easy for us to be down on it and say, darn it, it's ruining our lives. But you know what? I'm kind of thankful for it. It's kind of a great thing to be able to live in a nation where people can get up and fight and argue and riot if they want to, and where political candidates can stand up and tell lies about one another. It's all bad. It's a horrible situation, but be thankful for it. It's provided the greatest life you can imagine. Thank heavens for the police that are here to help us through it. The government and the police and our situation are something worthy of praise. Let us think about it. Well, the second thing I'd like to say I'm thankful for is friendship. If there's anything good about the COVID virus, it has been that it has brought friends closer together. It has made us aware of the value of relationships. It has made us make phone calls and write notes and say prayers and send little gifts. The COVID virus, if we can be thankful for anything about it, has lifted up friendship in our thinking. This poor man sitting there listening to me talk has been a friend of mine for 63 years. He was the best man or one of the groomsmen in our wedding, and I've been married 60 years. He and his wife have taken numerous vacations and cruises with us. They are friends. I am thankful for friendships, and you know why? I know I'm somebody because people like them love me. That means I'm a being, I'm worthwhile because of their friendship. One night when I was a rather young man, I was in San Francisco, and I thought it would be a terrible, funny thing to call a friend of mine who lived in Dallas and hit him up for money. So I called him and I said, Jim, I'm in trouble and I need money. And his immediate reaction was, where are you and how much do you need? That was 50 years ago. And it still touches my heart to know that I have that kind of support and love. You are who you are because of your friends and because people love you. They have helped to give you sustenance. Friendship is something worthy of praise. Lift it up. Think about it. And then I'd like to say that I am thankful for the people in history who have sacrificed so much in order that we could be here. I'm trying to wade through the biography of Winston Churchill, the new biography that's been on the bestseller list of the New York Times for the past year. And I think it may well take me the next year to get through it. It's over 600 pages. It is not a book of light reading, but it's made me deeply appreciate the great gift that Winston Churchill gave to the world. You know, Hitler made a compact with France so that France would just let him walk all over them. And then next, Hitler tried to make the same contract with England. And due to Winston Churchill, he said, no, you're not. And it may be because of Winston Churchill that all of Europe has liberty today. This week, I heard a book review of Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt's real value came not while she was married to FDR, but after he passed away and she became an international representative for the United Nations. And she started school after school and helpful society after helpful society. Did you ever think about people that have done that for you and for me? From Martin Luther to Martin Luther King, from John Wesley to your grandmother, teachers, people who have sacrificed of the hundreds of thousands of young men and women who have given their lives in order that we might have the lifestyle we have today. That's something worthy of lifting up. Let's look at it and be thankful. And then the fourth thing I'd like to say I'm thankful for is Jesus Christ. I love Jesus Christ, his lifestyle, what he taught. If somebody were to prove to me that Jesus never lived, that it was all a myth, I would still be a devout Christian because I love everything about it. I love the stories. I love the concept of forgiveness. I like the thought of helping one another. Most of all, I like the thought of knowing what direction I should be walking and what I'm supposed to be doing. I love the Christian faith. That's worthy of holding up. Do you ever think about that? Do you think about what it means to be Christian? Our government, our friendships, the people of our history, our faith, all of these things make us what we are. They're worthy of holding up, and in this time and in this age, we need to be thinking about them. We need the help they have to give us. We're living in a time when it would be so easy to get discouraged, when it would be so easy to give in to our depression, when it would be so easy to give up and quit and to criticize all of the awful things that are going on around us. We need something to keep us going, and gratitude and thanksgiving may well be that entity, that healing balm, that lubricant which enables us to go forward. Well, The Wizard of Oz ends when the young girl and all of her friends find what they need. Interesting enough, they all had different needs. They all had different desires. They all had different wants. But by binding themselves together, by helping one another, by listening to each other, by holding each other up, they all found what they need. Can we afford to do less? Can we afford to do any other in these perilous moments when we'd like to gripe and be depressed and get down and say damn to the whole world? Gratitude may well be that thing that sustains us and gives us hope. You know, they all got what they needed, and it was the Iron Man that wanted a heart. And when they get ready to end the story, the wizard says to the Iron Man, I have to go now, but I'm leaving you in charge. And the Tin Man says, why in the world? And the wizard says, because of your magnificent heart. And the Tin Man says, but I don't have a heart. And he said, of course you do. You love all these people, don't you? And what really gives your heart magnificence is that they love you in return. Now, people, we are in need of that kind of magnificence. We are in need of hope. We have a lot of things bothering us and troubling us. Think about the things in your life that are good and worthy. And St. Paul's admonition of whatsoever things are good and true and excellent, dwell in your heart on these things. And the message comes across that if we take all these things that are troubling us, all these needs that are different from each one of us, all the things for which we're searching, and we bind them with the ribbons of love and gratitude, somehow we will be flowered and flourished. If there's anything worthy of praise, think on these things. Can we afford to do otherwise? If there's anything worthy of praise, lift it up. Amen.